Okay, universe. 11:59, of course, here on the 12th. Sorry, on the 14th of March, Monday. And I really don't know that I should be recording right now because this morning when I was going to update the current job search situation, I did something I've never done before. I had 5, maybe 6 false starts that I just got 40, 60, 138 seconds into a recording and thought, what are you doing? That's awful. And hit stop. And I've done this once or twice, usually because I said something I shouldn't have, somebody's name, some other mistaken utterance that was inappropriate. But I've done it once or twice, and I'm guessing twice, so that means I've probably done it 3 times. And today I did it double that. So, and what's funny is, as I was doing it, I'm thinking, boy, what happened? Like, you are dumb. You're just not, I don't even want to listen to myself talk. So why on earth am I recording this? And I don't know that much has changed throughout the day. And I hate to say it, but the catalyst to this state of mind might have been the fulfilling? No. Mind settling. Thank you for not making this hard. Response of getting the same email solicitation this morning that I got on Friday, only this time following it up within the hour of receiving it, going through the offer of garden associate part-time and accepting the offer. So by 8:30 this morning, my need for employment had been solved, assuming that I get through whatever the employee onboarding process is without a snag, which is one of the reasons that I'm not smoking dope, at least not for 3 days, just in case. And I've never not passed a drug test. I don't think that smoking concentrate at the levels I smoke it really shows up. And I don't know that they even care anymore, but if they do, no reason to give them something that looks like I'm out of control. This is something I unfortunately know way too much about. Phoebe, I'm going to put you out because you're annoying me, and I'm sure you're annoying the entire process. So go out there, do your thing, and I'll see you in a bit. All right. And as soon as that happened, I felt like, I don't know, that was my whole plan today, was to make sure that I had done whatever it took to decide my fate at the big box orange store, THD. And I assumed I was going to settle this in my favor, but I needed to know if I wasn't, so that I could enact a plan that I had not thought nearly enough about over the weekend, as I just avoided thinking about, well, what if they don't take me back? Because if this hadn't worked out, well, I didn't have another solution, and everything else that I could even conceive of looked way more challenging than I probably had the energy for. So I have to recognize how this fell in my lap after I had assumed I had lost the opportunity. This gave me enough stress over the weekend to remind me that no matter what, I think of these jobs as homeless shelters for somebody who needs to get out of the rain. That isn't fair. And it's time I stopped acting so dismissively to what are the opportunities that I frankly need to enable my life to go in a direction that will make it fulfilling. Nothing about pulling into the gas station to put 3/4 of a tank of gas in your car feels like soul fulfillment. But you have to do it. There's no choice, or your vehicle will abandon you at the point where you have to just stop doing the things that make your life hard. And one of the things that has always made my life harder than it needed to be was believing that situations around me were beneath me. And I really haven't thought this about this situation, though I certainly did about Kroger and Sprouts, if I'm being honest. But no, not here. I never felt that way here because, frankly, I never got treated that way here. I'll work any job with any team of any skill set so long as we are working with mutual respect. And that's what was missing at the other two facilities that was never missing here. The only thing missing here was my sign of respect for them. And while I'll admit that there's some corporate rah-rah, I think propaganda and phoniness built into all of the messaging that comes with the job, it does reinforce on a daily basis that somebody actually cares to say, hey, nice work, hey, thanks, hey, good pull on that inventory sheet. I didn't even see it. There was a lot of cooperative work in that building, and so frankly I'm kind of excited. And it took me all day to get there, and it took a whole bunch of clerical silly work of the mindless, monotonous did I finally get that file up? Oh no, I did it wrong again. That kind of work. Well, I have 101 of these episodes loaded to YouTube, which means I only have 12 now, counting this, more to create and upload, and then I'm down to where distribution is just distribution, and I don't have to deal with uploading my back catalog of anything, because that has been one unfavorable chore. All right, so we got to stop this again because, frankly, I'm not going to put a shitty recording up there, and that's all I seem to be able to create. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a minute to collect myself and get my head in the game. I got notes here. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's Phoebe's distracting me, so I'll blame the dog this time. Totally unfairly, but I'll do it. Yeah, don't look at me like that. It's your fault. I'm pausing. See this? That's a pause button. That's your fault. Okay, well, we'll see if Phoebe will give us some room here. What do you think, Phoebe? We'll pet you and try to look at my list here at the same time. All right, so this morning, I'll be honest, like, I woke up feeling dull, disinterested, boring, without my motivation that I've been feeling so much of, without my sense of purpose. Like, all of that was gone. Seriously, and it hasn't really come back. Today has been a day of mediocrity, feeling mediocre, feeling like, I don't know. When I say I fear that I could slip back into being my old self, I usually think of that as a lie, at least lately, but not today. Today was a reminder that, holy crap, apathetic, disinterested, it's not even worth trying to help out. John showed up, and I don't know where he came from, because the one thing that I really didn't want to do today was go over to Home Depot and have to beg for my job. So when I didn't have to do that, and that sorted itself out before I even really had breakfast, I would think that that's the kind of jump start to my day that would put me in hyperactive, get everything done, go, go, go mode, but it didn't. And yet when I got the job, when it was like, you are now welcome to work in our garden department part-time, little video from the vice president or whatever, I was very relieved. I was very appreciative, and frankly had a little bit of white male American stuff going on. Like, what I really was thinking is, oh, why did I stress about this over the weekend? Of course it worked out. Now, that level of entitlement, maybe that's what's got me in the doldrums, that I realize now how much I fall susceptible to thinking, oh, it'll work out, even when it has all the reason in the world not to. Oh, no, not for me. It'll work out. Well, I have a couple of big hurdles to climb to get to a point where I can find instincts that make me feel centered and purposeful rather than selfish and superior. I don't know what I feel when I think things should work out for me. Should we all think that? I mean, shouldn't we? If we're not thinking things will work out for me, then we're thinking something's going to go wrong. And if we think things are going to go wrong, well, we're going to enable those scenarios to occur. So we're just creating negative energy of what if disaster routines that if you got a strong enough flow of energy with the environment you're in, you can turn that into the disaster itself. So I wasn't feeling that way this weekend. I think what happened this weekend is, for the first time, I was facing a real situation of a step backward. For the first time since this has all started. Now, was walking out of my last employer with the abruptness that I did, was that not taking a step back? Well, no, that actually felt like taking 2 or 3 steps forward. But finding out that people who I had worked hard for, worked well for, and had just been a little too late to even justify trying to argue for my job when the shit hit the fan. Well, after 4 years of fixing what needed to get fixed so that those problems were gone, offering my services back to an employer who still had plenty of staff that knew who I was. If that wasn't an environment in which I was going to be able to secure myself with confident employment, then, well, I was going to be done. Because where else was I going to go? I mean, it was literally going to be Walmart. I was even thinking, okay, so what place doesn't have a choice? They have to hire you because turnover's so high. What is it, like dollar store? Taco Bell? I mean, what is it? And so I couldn't come up with anything other than Taco Bell was my big fear, since it's right down the street. But now that all dissolves, right? That's all just time wasted this weekend with those feelings of, but what if it doesn't work out? But what? I don't want to think about that. So why didn't I want to think about that? Like, that was really not productive time, especially because I basically just sat around all weekend afraid of what I would do if this didn't come through. So that meant cutting a lot of YouTube videos together and not being very productive in the yard, for instance. So my prioritization suffered significantly from not being able to face the direct reality that this potentially could have easily been a no. I'd say yes, so that's nice, but this is a 51-49 yes if I had to guess. I am very close to the margin here, and I have just pushed this opportunity to the point that next time the margin won't exist. This is it. So I say these things to remind myself that I am now, and with intent, building back every foundational piece of my life, including what I think about the value of how to make a living in this world. And this is like my first summer job in high school, where I finally get the chance to make a little cheddar that's much needed around here because I got some bills to pay. So think of the next year as the year that you prove that though you did a good job at Home Depot, there was a gap there. They don't even know how good a job you could have done, given a level head and a not so prone to existential crises at work guy. if that guy could just sit in the sock drawer for a year and sleep it off, well, that would make this whole experience that much more valuable. Because something tells me that going back to a place where I was comfortably a B plus, B minus performer, depending on the day, and showing them what it looks like when I give you A minus work all the time, might make me proud. But I also know, do not accept any suggestion of more responsibility there. No. Just do a good job, shut your mouth, and be respectful of the entire process. Always offer to do what you can, but no more than what you can do without losing your head. All right, notes to self, I believe, are done. So why do I do what I do? Why do you do what we do? Why do I do what I do? And then how do I frame that against what society does, or what other people do, or what I see being done, and the level of synchronicity I feel toward actions of others. For instance, I know it is beyond hypocritical. What's the word for the most galactic hypocritical statement of all time? Whatever that push is, for me to talk about wanting a society without lies, without top secret classified, nobody gets to look at this ever again sort of information existing, when I have only really one true descriptor that anybody who had known me for the first 45 years of my life, minus the age of 10 and under, I'm not really sure about those years, but the other 35 years, they would have said, well, 1, he's a liar. 2, and that could be, I would imagine, about 9 different things. But liar would have been first. So I don't have the right to turn around to society and say, hey, society, you know what I've decided? Since I'm not lying, well, your turn. Not it. Oh, look who's it. Society, government, structure, institutions, everybody else. Well, no. I don't. That's not. First of all, I never, ever expect my behavior to be anything of a statement other than what I need to do for myself. Now, if that is a level of denial that is too simplistic, I respect that, but I still don't think that changes anything about how I'm going to act going forward. I have confidence in this assembled version of myself to do what's necessary to keep myself moving forward. And even if I had stepped backward today and realized, I no longer am even welcome at a place where I know a lot of people by name and they all smile and say, how you been? That environment now no longer is one that you haven't screwed up enough to have to leave behind and regrettably leave behind. Like that, I think, was the ultimate scare, is at least I know what I'm getting into here. And after what went on with the grocery store chains, I believe I needed someplace that I knew I could go land with no friction. And by that I mean from me, created by me in my head about stuff that I think that I shouldn't be thinking in the first place. And if I am thinking it, I can certainly talk myself into telling that part of my head, there's no place for that right now. I'll talk to you after my birthday. But until then, you need to go play Galaga. Oh God. We had one of those stand-up arcade 60-in-1 machines at the digital advertising agency. That was tough. That was harder to resist than the damn pokey tuna, which was hard to resist. But a good game of Mappy, bring it on. But Galaga, I do love me some Galaga. Almost as much as I love me some Donkey Kong, which almost as much as I love me some... God, I don't know what my favorite 80s video game is. I guess it's Donkey Kong. All right, enough chitter chatter. But so why do I do what I do? This is such a difficult thing to determine that I don't know that it's a good question to ask, except in the generic sense of, well, why am I not on time? Now there's a good why do I do what I do question to ask. But why do I find myself feeling under leveraged, feeling why do I feel like I'm settling whenever I do anything that helps me move forward, even if it's a small step? I don't know. This is another place that I've been trained to think that there is such a concept as settling. Well, what is settling? Like, oh, well, you could have done better than that dude. You sure did settle when you married that guy. Okay, maybe there is such a thing as not meeting the expectations that your life deserved to meet. But boy, does that ever sound like it just concocted stress and shame that doesn't need to be there. Thinking that this version of life that you've got going isn't the one you deserved. You deserved better, and the only reason you're not getting better is because either you got screwed by this, and that, or you screwed up that, this, and this. And so, whatever it is, you're going to just sit there and stew, either about yourself or about your circumstance, neither one of which leads you to anything productive at all. In fact, it leads you to having to unwind all that naughtiness. So when I felt the deflation of the morning, when I reinforced that with the apathetic recorded nonsense, I should put that together and say, don't bother, but if you do, realize I told you this is the absolute dumbest conversation you'll ever listen to me have with myself. And that's saying something. But it was as if I'd lost a connection with feeling inspired again. I don't know where it went. Like, did it dissolve because of this opportunity? Was that what the stress was really about all weekend? That what I knew I shouldn't be doing was this again? Hadn't I proven to myself that I could barely make it to work? Hadn't I shown myself in the last 2 attempts thereafter that I'm just not cut out for these kinds of pursuits? I don't know. I hope not. Because I really will have to admit that I was lying to myself if that's the case. Those all sound like those after arguments that flutter through your head and make you think, wait, did I think this through all the way? But I've never had a second thought about where I wanted to go next. Like, I knew I needed to land somewhere that I felt comfortable. So it was this: go find a job at Baskin-Robbins or a paper route. And among those 3 choices, I believe everybody would say, well, okay, if you're gonna, yeah, I mean, if that's what you're picking between. I mean, did you consider standing on a freeway on-ramp with a sign that says, will work for nonsensical punchlines? Did you? No? Because you can't feed your dog with nonsense. With punchlines? No. The cat, yes, but not the dog. Dog needs food. All right. I'm so sorry. I mean, I needed to record on a day when I felt like I didn't have it. I wouldn't want to make myself a peanut butter and honey sandwich right now, because I have a feeling it would be a mediocre effort. And do you know how good that sandwich has always been for me? No, I'm not going to do it. So why do I do what I do? Well, this is fascinating territory. And some of the most fascinating stuff about it is the idea of how simulated we're proving the universe to be. Which, of course, is irrelevant. This does not matter. If it's simulated, it's simulated. If I'm wearing a helmet that is in fact this bodysuit of a human being existence and will divinely shoot up into the starlight of eternal bliss when this little experiment is over, all the better. No problem. But there's no way of confirming that, even though intuition can lead you to believe that you know that it's going to happen, that everything about all those reincarnation stories tells you what you do here matters, but it isn't the eternal sentence of damnation and hellfire unless you continue to recycle back on this planet without learning anything. And it does feel like I've been through enough of a past. I mean, it doesn't feel like a past life, but it seems like you almost have this intuition of confidence that you're doing the right thing when you're doing something new with initiative that feels like you're being true to yourself. And for most of today, I felt like I'd lost that. And I feel like I've lost it in this recording. I think this is easily the worst recording I'm going to have to listen to. But I'm not going to delete it. Although, right now, I don't know, that sounds like a lie. Because even when we're mediocre, when we're just feeling off, when we don't have our traditional mental crutch to lean on for whatever reason, or we just find ourselves not up to the task. Well, I had so many justifiable excuses to not hit record. And yet the one that I didn't have was it can only be you at your best. Well, no, that's not at all the case. If after a year of doing this, I'm not expecting to have some days where, that's a day where your creative energy just wasn't up to the job. Yep. So far, this is the first one that I felt that way. So if I want to look at the calendar, we're talking 73 days. So if it's going to be every 73 days, that's fine. Roughly 5 of these over the course of the year I can handle. And if you think about it, how weird is that it's exactly 1/5 of the year? But that's me. When I get to the 20% line of any download, I think to myself, do I really need this? Do I want to go the rest of the 80%, or should I quit now and cut my losses while I've only got this little bit of the file? Well, I haven't really thought about quitting this. I mean, I've certainly considered, am I really going to do this for the year? Do I really mean that? But I do. Why not, right? Why not? Why not live up to one expectation of myself that, as I have described before and still feel, is about the equivalent of jumping over a jump rope that is lying on the ground. If you don't have that much effort to jump over that rope, well, find it. Seriously. Do not quit to the point that your energy level can't cross a grounded rope. You can't think it doesn't still have value to pursue that which you know has paid off before, even on days when you don't have it. And the result will be less than memorable. So what? And I'm so I'm bewildered that I can sit here and be this way. I do not fear having any malicious energy turned toward me for the things that, with my best intent, I may completely screw up, but was only doing what I could to do the best I could. And I think somewhere maybe I was born without it. I don't know. I mean, I got all kinds of things to get to, but I don't have that one sorted out. But if you ever think that you deserve to live according to your mediocre C day, your F day, anything but your A day, that's just not true. Those are just the days that you prove to yourself that you have some ability to stand up and do better. And if all of the impulses that push us to do things outside of who we really are, if none of those existed, and then you found yourself doing some abominable stuff, yeah, I'd say, what do we got going on over here, right? You know, I mean, why aren't you just peeling another grape and enjoying the luscious artesian spring water? But no, you're over here doing something vile. Well, what vile activities would you do if there were no stresses, shame, or guilt, or harm intended toward you in the environment in which you exist? Why would you create chaos where paradise can be had? I don't know. We human beings are by far in control of our destiny as a collective on this planet, as we determine it worth achieving. The potential for paradise is right here. It doesn't need to change. It just needs to be correctly managed. We need a damn good project manager and some pretty decent middle management. Well, I don't know if we need those guys, but we need a team of effective thinkers and organizers to strategize humanity's future. And I don't think we necessarily have them all in place at the moment. And I'm not saying I am that person. In fact, I will 100% say I am not. But those people exist. And they went into hibernation because they saw a world filled with disappointment. And some days, lunacy. And other days, a glimmer of hope. But not enough to dust off and get back out and see what you can do about it. In fact, those glimmers of hope are getting less and less frequent. They just feel manufactured anymore, like I'm being led down this path so I don't feel so bad about what's truly going on. Look over here. Did you notice the kids with the finger paint? Check out what they're doing. Well, again, everything that is going negatively in the world today is because human beings are enabling it, and everything that is being enabled by human beings can be corrected. I know I'm simple, but if I don't start with the basics, then my funnel will be upside down. And this is not a problem I think we're going to solve with upside down funnels. In fact, I don't think this is a problem we're going to solve unless everybody thinks that it's worth it. We are at the point now, to me, where if you don't think it needs to change and that it's worth making the change, well then, I guess we do deserve whatever comes next. And I don't feel like quitting on you guys, so let's not all quit on each other. Let's just say, okay, halftime is over. How shall we attack the second half of the game So we come out winners. All ideas welcome. Nothing is a silly or stupid question to ask when you're trying to figure out how to correct what feels wrong everywhere you turn. I'm not leaving this existence without saying, I saw it, I knew there was something wrong, and I did nothing to fix it. That's where I was headed. I'm not willing to accept that anymore.